I don't need one. I don't think Bauscher needs one either. So welcome to our January sales summit. New year, right? New faces, guests. We have some really good speakers for you today. We've got our nonprofit in recognition that Matt's going to talk about briefly. We've got a sponsor who's sponsoring lunch, so that's awesome. And I believe he's only going to be here for a short time, so see him, say thank you, and then we've got some really good stuff lined up for you for the next hour and a half. So it's going to go fast. So engage when asked to engage. Keep your voices down, pay attention. And I'm going to start with Matt with getting introduced our APO of the bar.
I love that Amherst does the nonprofit of the month because it's kind of how the company was founded, and do stuff for the community, get working. The whole reason, right, is we sell the community, and time is obviously limited with the resources you can give time, money to a million nonprofits. I was on the board for Make-A-Wish for 6 years. There's dozens of amazing nonprofits that are doing incredible things. This one in last month, the Well. This particular nonprofit affects our families, our community, our livelihood of selling real estate. It's honestly endless. And it's nice to say, hey, I go behind my gated subdivision and I drive my thing and everything's clean. As long as I don't see homeless people underneath the bridge, everything's fine in my little life. But that's not real life. Over 500 people were off the streets in the Boise Rescue Mission homes on Saturday night. And I've got to know the last couple of years, the organization from the 1950s that was started. I'll let it get all into it. I won't get into the details, but they take $0 from the government. Zero. And they're doing big things. It's Christian based. They get people off the street. 40%, Jason says 40% of people have jobs and they can't afford housing. They're working. It's not like they're lazy, drug addict people. They are working their ass off trying to grind in the city. And yeah, we're making good money because the city's going really well. What about the people who are grinding? They're on minimum wage grinding to be able to, provide for their families. So Saturday I had an amazing experience. I brought my wife and kids to serve in the women and children's shelter. We always sell them in North End. You probably drive past it a million times. 14 Jefferson. It's a church that is now a shelter. But there is women and children, and I saw firsthand on Saturday, that are in there, and they don't know what the future looks like. And they are so grateful, so appreciative, smiling. I mean, one room we went into, she was a war veteran, and now she has a pastor on there that motivates her, and she's homeless. So this man has done more for our community than any of us could ever imagine. I have the utmost respect. The fact that he's here brings me tremendous joy. So without further ado, I will introduce Jason, the VP of development for the whole state, Boise Rescue Mission.
Well, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. What a joy and a privilege it is to be with you. I was buzzing with excitement when Matt invited me, Jackie reached out, and thank you so much for allowing me to share.
That's good.
Now, during the vice president of development, I started the rescue mission for 17 years. I moved here to make a bunch of money. I had some big ambitions. Our president, Reverend Bill Bauscher, said, hey, I want you to come work for us. I want you to help us for our community. And just like money. I thought about it, prayed about it, and I took the job. So fast forward 17 years. Many of you I've met, I've worked with Kevin, Christina, and Seth, and Nick, and Lauren. She was on our team. She's amazing. And it has been a joy and a privilege to be part of what we do at the rescue mission. Now, most of you have probably heard about what we do. I'd like to give you a little history and give you some stats and answer any questions you have. Now, we had started back in 1958 at the back of an abandoned Chinese restaurant. There were actually train tracks that rolled through town, carrying all these hobos, these guys drinking, staggering around, going from city to city. And they would land here in Jersey with no plan or purpose. And friends, just like us, like Don said, we gotta do something, we gotta help these guys out. So they bought the Shanghai Lowell Cafe down on Capitol Boulevard, where both hotels stand today. Then we started knocking on doors asking for coal donations, and heat the stoves, provide meals, keep our guests warm. We've since expanded to 200,000 square feet of facilities. In Boise and in Tampa.
Did it?
Flip through our facilities here, I give you a virtual tour.
It died
Now,
again.
you see, we have our river line.
Try yours.
And about a mile away, we have our city line. home for
No, it's
women
on.
children. And then in Nampa, we have our Valley Women and Children's Shelter and our recovery lodge for guests that are medically fragile and for, well, first overcome illness and for young pregnant girls who are available for 17, 18, 19. They've got nowhere to go. They have no safety. They stay with us at our recovery side. And we also have our Lighthouse Rescue Mission. It's pretty that's a facility. We had accommodated over 400 Ukrainian refugees who were sent here, war-torn, homeless, nowhere else to go. We opened up our facility to accommodate them. And then we have, I told about 54 transitional housing apartments in Boise and Owsley. We have our ministry center warehouse. It's sort of the executive think tank with a warehouse attached where we receive donations. Everything that we receive, we share with our facilities, we share with families in need. We give out to 22 other organizations. To keep it going. Making sure we do that. And last, we have our next step, Curtis, transitional housing facility. It's a 55,000 square foot facility. We purchased 3 years ago now, and have opened up the whole family spot. The kids will take out veterans, elderly. And we were inside. So here's what we do. When someone goes up to the rescue mission, we want to find out what caused them to be homeless. Was it a family situation, financial situation, addiction issue? This is pretty long. But we ask them how to be emotionally, physically, financially, and spiritually. We listen to them, we encourage them, we become part of their family. And then we offer 3 tiers of service, starting with emergency overnight shelter, where they can stay with us for a couple of weeks, couple of months, to a question asked. Then we offer about 10 different programs, starting with our new life addiction recovery program, 80% success rate. If you're looking for recovery, you're probably going to find it minimum 1 year, up to 2 years. Awesome. And then we also have accountability work reentry program, and just as Matt said, 40% of our guests are getting employed right now, working, making money, saving money, getting them debt, getting ready to transition out. We have our veterans ministries program with a 91% success rate. We've had over 600 veterans successfully transition out of our facilities since we opened up that program in 2010. We have in-house mental health care, a very robust kids program, teens program. We're talking about wraparound services, cutting-edge services for each person in need. And then, in addition, we have our education program, respite care for guests who are medically fragile, crisis and unplanned pregnancy for our hope program. And last, we have a street outreach ministry. We are knocking on hard doors with coffee, pastries, encouraging people to take advantage of the resources available. This morning, we had 484 of our homeless guests get up, get ready for the day, enjoy a nice breakfast. Some went to work, some were in classrooms right now. And friends, we're serving between 800 and 1,000 hot meals a day.
Wow.
Breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
Wow.
And, you know, Matt and I were talking, hey, what does this cross mean? Well, for 66 years, we've been a Christian organization. So what does that cross really mean? It means that everybody's welcome, regardless of faith, orientation, background, belief, gender identity, gender transition. Everybody is welcome to us. We just want to get to know and understand the situation and figure out how we can help them overcome homelessness and heal from addiction. So we host chapel 7 days a week at all of our facilities. It's on a voluntary basis. We are a gospel teaching and preaching rescue. So if people would like to attend, they can, but they don't have to. And then we are a new life addiction recovery program, Bible-based, we tell them up front. The Bible-based program, that daily Bible studies, Christian counseling, Christian classes. And for some of the animals, last year we had 975 people who gave their life to the Lord. And over the last 10 years, we've had more than 4,000 homeless guests successfully transition out of our program, out of homelessness into stable housing. They couldn't do what we do without funds like you, staff. You invest in our community. We have a standard of excellence, and I've been following you long enough to know. And I'm glad to follow Christine on Facebook. I mean, you know that you don't follow her, see her standards. I think you're very serious and are sincerely compassionate to improve the quality of life in our community. And I want to thank you for allowing me to share what we're doing at Boise Rest in the Charlotte Park. May I take any questions?
Yeah, thank you.
Absolutely.
How many homeless people do you think are actually on the streets every night?
About 2,500 homeless people are what we're estimating across the valley. You have about 1,000 who are visible and can be counted because they're in local facilities. You have an additional about 1,500 who are living in cars, tents, living up in the hills, couch surfing, who are kind of in transition. Actually, we have a current needs list on our website at boiseRN.org. And we update that every month because in the wintertime, we're going to be more cold. In the summertime, we're going to be flip flops and sun tan lotion. So it's updated every month, easier one. Thank you. And
How is self off the rather than
yeah. Our staff, we go to the local jails, we go to prisons, we interview people, and we interview people when they come in to seek services. We don't ask how hungry they are, we don't ask to see if they say, we just say, come on in, let's get to know you, and let's find out how we can help. We had one girl, Lauren knows this story, Misty Maxson, who's worked for us for 10 years. Misty grew up in a hugely dysfunctional household, mom and dad were out of jail or prison, long time. Misty followed suit. Her record was 3 phone books thick, and I'm not exaggerating. She was a frequent flyer at crime. Mostly drug trafficking, manufacturing, and stuff like that. So Misty was standing before Judge Weatherall here in Boise, facing 97 years in prison. This was it. So she walks in, and I saw this whole thing because we were in the back of the room. And Misty walks forward, Judge Weatherall says, Misty, you're here again. I'm giving you opportunity after opportunity. And I can't believe it if you're here. And he said, I understand you want to join Boise Rest Commission's New Life Addiction Recovery Program. That's civil right. And he said, I'm going to give you one chance to tell me why I should even consider you for that program. She looked back at us and she said, well, I read about their program and it sounds good. They told me they love me. They told me God loves me. And I'm starting to believe it. I think they can help. Missy's a pretty gritty girl, and it took her 1.5 years, almost 2 years to get through the program, but she graduated. Then she went on to school to get her nursing degree. Her daughter graduated from BSU and with an honors degree in early childhood education 2 years ago. Missy is attending church. She's got her family back with her. She's doing great vacation work for us for 10 years. Last year, we had 533 people similar to Missy who successfully transitioned out.
Oh, I love it. I love it.
Well, my time is up, and I understand you have a full schedule. I'd love to talk to you at lunch. Thank you again. Okay.
Thank you, Jason.
All right, Scott, come on up. Scott Parsons, Stillwater Proposed Home Inspections. Their sponsor, the lunch we're gonna be having this afternoon. He's your guy, so this is not working, so you're kind of on your own.
Scott Parsons, Stewart Post, I've never met you, but thanks for having me, and Nick, I met her, I appreciate it. And business owner for 4 years. Been in law enforcement and construction my whole life until 2021. I got this franchise. I love it. talking to Audrey. I know Audrey and her husband Matt, I've worked with, as a cop and in construction with her husband Matt. They were here all the time. Audrey. And she was, when we were talking, sorry, I didn't know what I was gonna talk about. I mean, to go after somebody that's doing something. So good to see him, and I'm just up here in my company. But you're right now. I was kind of nervous about it. So last night, it's Tuesday nights, our date night for me and my wife to go to the Ricky. I've been there. Everything should go. And my wife's Italian and Irish, which all we can say for each other. I've been married for 25 years. And I guess she sensed that I was a little nervous to talk in front of you guys. And she goes, nervous, you nervous? What's wrong with you? I used to talk 3 times this for gang stuff and dope stuff. I was a cop and I was never. She goes, why are you nervous? I go, well, I don't know. Marketing, sales, you guys do that every day. I've never done this. And she goes, you know what? I do open houses on the weekend. So I don't know if you've ever seen me. I always make a comment. And I hand my card, and all I say is, I know your time is precious, is, hey, if you have a great inspector, use them. If they do a great job for you, let them be your number one. I'm not gonna take them away from you. I enjoy loyalty, so keep them. Let me be the first guy I have a bullpen for you. If they ever can't do one, here's my card, and it's half off for the first time. Don't have it, ready? Take 2 Same deal though, 50% off the first time you use me. It helps with the client, for the price, the buying home and all that stuff. And that way you can see what I do, you can see my reports. And I always fit you in. If I can't, the one good thing about Door to Post is 4 of us in the Treasure Valley. Some of you may have used Big Plant or Danny and Amanda. All of our reports are the same. We all went through the same Door to Post training. So if you've used me for a couple of years and I can't do it because I'm on vacation, they do it for you. And it's the same report that you're used to seeing. So appreciate your time. 10, you guys give me 10 or 5?
Give you a little extra.
You can, what you are.
No.
Do you have any questions?
I actually have 2 inspections, so that's not a lie to get real quick. I actually do the first one. But you will see my daughter, all 98 pounds of her, little Sarah, she's 17. She's picking up the food as we speak because I have inspections. So she'll be bringing that. She's gonna get a hold of Audrey and it's Timber tacos. I've never had it. Hopefully there's enough. There should be. But I appreciate your time. Thank you. Just questions.
Yes. All right. We go on a listing appointment, we want to blow away the sellers. What's some things we could do easily to educate them on before you come in and blow up the deal?
Not alarmist. I've done that work in the last 4 years of doing this. So you're the seller and to get the house ready to sell. Yeah. I mean, what I see the most, if it's let's say it's a 10-year-old house, clean the gutters. Because that's gonna be called out every time. I don't know that I always try to talk to my realtors and do print inspections, but I can see it and not blow up a deal. And I do a 360 tour and then I print it out for you. So, perfect example, Nick Plant, who's the other door post guy, did my house in Idaho when I moved to Canada. Got local. So, okay, so I had a little guy, he remediated it. So when Nick had the report printed out for people to come in and see the house, it had the cert that it was already taken care of. So the first thing I would say is be pretty expensive, for sure. It's usually a little bit cheaper. But that way I can catch the stuff for you before the next guy comes in. But other than that, usually it's the biggest thing for me right now. I don't know if it is for you guys, but every time I go to a house, people haven't done it for 10 years, and that's on every single. And even if you don't, so I don't know if you guys, if you go to a pre-inspection, there's also, I do like a 4-point inspection. So if you don't want to pay $500 for pre-inspection, I do the big together. So crawl space, attic, roof, which includes letters. That way, that's the places that most people don't go when they go there. So when you do get that fire inspector that comes out, it's not the first time. So. No, it's full report. 4.1, it depends. I mean, usually it's an email with photos, because I think photos, so unfortunately, it's franchise. It- I get it in my business, so it costs me for every report, to hand it out to the customer. So usually a 4.1 inspection is an email with photos and a description of everything I found. But if you wanted to report it, I can get it. Usually about, it depends on the square footage, but 149 to about 200. I'm usually there for like 45 minutes. Yeah. Pre-inspection is a full inspection. And it's usually full price too. It's, one full day.
Yeah, they fix stuff, you alter the, when you edit the report.
I come back for a re-inspection for free.
That's awesome. Always your problem. So then the report will come back with everything. With the right cleaner.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'll try to, every report, so my reports aren't 80 pages long, they're usually 25 to 30 pages. Kind of concise, and I don't double up pictures in my summary and all that, so. I enjoy when the clients come with the realtor, so that I can talk to them in person and look in the houses with auditors, husband, and being in construction, I know how to fix things. So I try not to alarm them, like, hey, I found mold, everybody wants mold. It's actually. If I find mold, I'll explain to them, hey, they come out and how they do it, it's not as big of a cost as you think, and I go over everything and say, most of this stuff you know. Most houses that I go to, and I let you with the audit and decide what the ticket items are, but usually we're kind of on the same board with that, where my summary is kind of what I think your audit team probably is gonna be, and then you can always add. I actually enjoy the mission, about 50% of the time. But if they don't, I call. If the realtor wants me, if you're somebody who doesn't want your inspector to call them randomly and go over it without you, I don't do it. But if you do, that's a service that I do. I'll call them for on page 3. Oh.
So have you ever had like, this is gonna be more of like a, hey, let's go type thing. Have you ever had a house where you were like, oh, something that,
Like that.
like that, I've seen gunshots through roofs, like, you know.
I actually had, I don't know if you guys have heard of Marcomm now, I go to buy a lot of houses. And they're usually not the nicest, so they're kind of like the house that I saw as a cop, like spice senses kind of go off. And I walked in and there was no doubt the guy that answered the door was on heroin. And there was no doubt that the guy that came out of the bathroom. 100%, and they were kind of freaking me out. Went back in my car. Back in the house, and they didn't want me to look at the house. They were like, no, you can't go in here, you can't go in there. I'm like, okay. There's shenanigans happening. So I called Offer now, I said, hey, listen, they're still there, they're not supposed to be there. I'm not coming back until they're not there. Came back the second time, they were there again. Third time they were gone, but yes, you would be amazed how people live. And I saw it a lot as a cop, but I see it a lot now as I go into houses, and it's a pleasure. So
I just wanted to find.
no doubt, though, I haven't smelled the death.
Yeah.
I haven't had to call 911.
That's great.
Oh, good. Well, thanks again for your time.
Thank you, Scott. Good luck at those inspections.
Where's Jim? Here we go.
Get that voice ready.
Do the little cue thing. Hey, it's circa June 2006. And the Owsley family,
Nope.
is it?
Oh, sorry. No. Hold on.
Yeah, it's circa 2006, the Owsley family is on their 6th year living in Dallas, Fort Worth, Boise natives. Grew up here, met my wife here, told that story way back last year. But we're down there for our year 6, we're bouncing back. Time to move. So, next slide, yeah, here we go. And, man, where'd that go?
Here.
Yeah, I deserve that. Only it's 1-1 now. The moving trucks, send that up to Boise, and send the girls up on an airplane and come back. And it's just Big D and I. Affectionately named Dallas, was born in Dallas, 110-pound golden retriever. We load up the old 87 4Runner and chock full of stuff. He's in the back, and we're gonna make a 2.5-day trek from DFW to Boise. Now, if you ever been in North Texas or Texas in general, it's like 7 hours just getting out of the state.
Yeah.
We're in North Texas.
Yeah.
Well, that's calculated. And first and only time I completely ran out of gas.
Oh, no.
June, Texas Panhandle.
Ooh.
Look just like this, because that is the Texas Panhandle shop. Not a lot of traffic coming either. Fortunately, and then Big D's like, really? You're gonna do this here, I'm wearing a coat. You're in shorts, flip flop. He wasn't thrilled. And the best I can do, no cell coverage. I had a 10-foot tow rope that I always kept before, because we were always running around in the tow bridge. I figured one day. You stand on the side of the highway, wait for a truck and hold it up, or any car. Say, help. Well, 20 minutes goes by, it felt like 2 hours in the heat, man. And here comes this Texas boy and Ford F-250. Rolling over the hill, flies by me, we made contact. Backs up, gets out, young buck, y'all broke down? Yeah. Said, well, hook her up. So I get this 10-foot, now think about that. And I'm thinking he's gonna, hit cruise and go 55-ish. To wherever the next fill station is. No, he's gonna crank that back to money.
Oh, my gosh.
Takes off. So now, for the next 40 minutes, that felt like a week. I gotta keep enough tension on that tow rope that if I don't blast into him, that's not gonna go well. Or not so much that I trust the rope.
Right.
So it's 90, 10 and 2, game on. You get to the fill station, fill the tank, make the run back to Boise successfully, no harm, no foul. And all of that to say, what we're gonna talk about today when it comes to marketing is engines and fuel. Engines and fuel. You're gonna build an engine, you're gonna start building your engine this morning. And then you're gonna finish it on the back end. If it's too much to do, I'm taking a 2-hour pitch and slamming it in 20 minutes-ish. So we're gonna get you started. When Matt goes over his engine, it's gonna get you even more familiar with it. And you'll be good. Your eyes are gonna cross, your brain's gonna blow up a little bit, but hang in there, it makes sense. Just to illustrate the point further, I had to find this on YouTube. That was sound.
Wow.
Yeah, man, that's just fun. So I want you to think of your marketing for your business as an engine. You're driving that track is you publishing your stuff so people see it and get out ahead of the competition and win. Gotta have fuel
to run it, obviously. And that fuel is content. We're gonna talk about that. So 3 steps to all marketing. Number 1, you gotta plan it. That's your engine. You all got a blank in your folders. You gotta produce it. Or have somebody else produce it. That's the content, that's your fuel, and then publish it. That's the track. All right. Fuel. I'm giving you examples of fuel. Shouldn't be a surprise. You do it often. All this collateral, online, offline, digital, print, whatever it is, that's what's running your engine. That Big Ten buyer's book, put your hands, how many of you have a copy of that or you've seen it? Yeah, that's really good. Oh, man. Use that. You gotta see your closing percentage go up. Why? Because the book's already overcoming the fears, objections, and concerns that those folks already have. And the more you read their mind, John and James Smith, buyer seller, the more they assume you've got a solution, or you wouldn't be bringing it up. It's right there in that Big Ten book. That's all the work. Quality fuel, and then video content, obviously, and a bunch of other stuff. There's some samples. So that's your fuel. I want you to think of content a little differently after the day. I want you to think of it as paper, digital, audio sales reps who are marketing you and your listing. I know we call it marketing, but sometimes you tweak something. It just resonates because those are complementing your human efforts. They're not replacing you, they're complementing and empowering you. Do this right. The wins gotta go up, the conversion ratio's gotta go up. The repeat business ought to go up. Dare I say, the time to close should even shorten. Because you're doing a better job of these content. Here's the beauty about these folks. They work all year round. They can handle rejection after rejection after rejection. The website, business cards, and videos, your flyers, all your stuff. It doesn't whine about getting another loan. It just says, yeah, no worries. Keeps talking. It never quits on you, never calls in sick. Never complains about bad leads. That sounds familiar. And it gets the pitch right 100% of the time. That's marketing. Or, put differently, paper, digital, audio sales reps. Audio means maybe doing some radio stuff, maybe doing a podcast, all kinds of different things to advance your engine. Here we go. This is where your eyes cross. Just bear with me. A good engine's got to fire on all cylinders and have plenty of good fuel running through it to race around the track like the NASCAR. Over here, remember the 3 P's? What are they?
Plan it, produce it, publish it.
Okay, we're going to talk about planning. This is planning. One-page wonder. I toured the country for, I did 33 cities across the U.S. and Canada. I spoke to groups of 5 to 500. I started to develop this over the course of trying to teach and train and empower marketing. And I came up with this. And what's crazy is I would be in a room of 200 people with about 75 different industries represented, and the engine doesn't change but maybe 10%. There's just only so many ways to do sales and marketing in the customer journey. And so you might tweak yours a little bit, but I bet it's pretty close. And partly because too, when I sat down with Matt, he validated this. He had a key distinction. He added that middle line I didn't have there. And I'll explain what that means. But let's first go here. These are all the different assets: paper, digital, audio, sales reps, marketing, that you can use to promote you and or your listing. I gave you a double sided because one engine is your branding about you and why people should care about you. And the other side is property line. You can implement the same strategy. Okay, lots of stuff. And we get our own dog food, so I'm showing you what we do to advance our brand. Ad, this doesn't stand for ad, it's the initials of my guy that runs that lineup. So I know that's coming. For example, I'll put bobbleheads up of who's running what cylinder. But if you think about it, that's a cylinder, so is that, so is that. These are all cylinders, right? It's a robust engine. Don't try to build it overnight. You're gonna build it in iterations. Some of you probably are in your plain clothes about what this is, it's a closed loop system. So you've got all these options, organic, social, we're doing an AI agent, which is when you jump on our site, we got a little thing down in the corner, that's nothing to do with bot thing, but it's effective. There's a little bit of early vetting and then hands you the lead. Blogs, email outreach, we're doing like 600 a day nationally for our brand. LinkedIn DMs, direct messages, I've got an AI thing doing that. Organic SEO, digital ads, reposting to Facebook groups, networking with cars and EPH. You start with nothing else but that. And make it a commitment to be networking X times a week with a pitch. Kind of practice it, see if you can't get it tight, so that in 30 seconds, somebody goes, "Take your card, you follow up, right? You've got that tight, not overly scripted, you gotta deliver it naturally, but you're not winging it. That's an elevator pitch. Industry speaking, all that stuff. Okay, all of those assets, you do a lot of sales reps. Have your customers or prospects are going in a couple of directions. One is they go immediately up here and they want a demo. In your case, you could write listing appointment. And Matt, when you see Matt's engine, when he's up, you can take even more notes. This is obviously to promote us as a marketing agency to people. He's gonna show you his example, his real estate business was obviously very meaningful to you. Anyway, they're gonna go up here, we call it a demo, we call it a listing appointment. And then from there, they're gonna go to a sale. Yay, that was easy. 1, 2, 3, all 3 cylinders firing at a good time. Or they're gonna say, yeah, like it, not ready for it. Objection, fear, concern, can't overcome it, can't win them all. No worries. Hey, we offer a bi-monthly rather every week. Free advice on how to be marketing better, and I put you on that list. 95% plus yes, just reject the same. We're probably out of reciprocity than they actually are gonna look at the stuff. Okay, if they don't look at the stuff, you know? I just want the branding impression in the inbox. How many of you do that? You looked at it, you go, not looking at it, but it brought it top of mind. If nothing else, that's a win. That's nurturing a seed that you work really hard to get in the ground. Don't let it die because you're not fertilizing the water in it. What it needs is a little bit of care. For Jim, that takes work and systems and email and content. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So here we go. They sell, we get them a welcome gift, some swag, that's cool. And then they go to the client. These might be the same content. Sometimes they're separate. Sometimes you want different messaging to people that already work with, and people you haven't. But if you can't get to it, the same content, only both. Because you're staying top of mind. Be really aggressive, be negative. Okay. In here, let's say go that route. Then that leads to future sales. Hello. That's where you get marketing velocity. Is reading business because all that hard work's done. And they become a lead source, word of mouth. And they essentially their referral becomes the publication channel. Well, Jim, I'm relying on word of mouth. And I'm proud of it, not me all this other stuff. I get it. As long as you don't get growing as fast as those people will or will not talk about you. I 100% respect that. And you're like, I don't want to grow you guys. I only want to grow as fast as these people will or will not talk about. I get it. But for those that want to throttle, get it going quicker than these folks can do for you. You got these other options. All right. If they say no to the sale, they come down to the prospect group. I mentioned that. It's super important. probably one of the most important things on. Because you want to talk and see your stuff, it brings their hand a little bit. I'm not ready for this, let me go here. You know where you become a believer? Is when 2 years later, somebody pops out of your prospect and says, hey, you talked to me years ago, 3 years ago, I don't remember. You know what, I need to, timing's changed, circumstances changed, and we get back together. And that's when you personally go, this works. Because you were letting that do its thing. Okay, we pop out, re-demo, back in here, all right. That's the minority of leads that go that way. We know that, that's safe. The majority go south. And they go, oh, I saw your stuff. Caught my attention. I'm now gonna look at what I'm calling web properties. That's your .com, that's your social channels. You need to have those going. And that's a lot of work. Yeah, but once they're set, and you're just feeding content and golden. You want brand continuity across those so that the user experience is confused. They're seeing the same colors, fonts, images, continuity. And then from there, ideally you have a squeeze form, something that says, hey, free download, type of thing, with low risk, don't have to talk to a human. Something valuable for them. Guides, a source, intent, it could be a lot of things. Test, retest, ready, fire, aim. That triggers follow-up call. That call needs to happen. It needs to happen soon. It needs to be done well. It can't be, hey, notice you here, sign master some stuff. Can I help you? I'm using that as an exaggeration, but come on. It's gotta be dialed. Somewhat scripted without sounding scripty. So that you optimize the opportunity to go up to there. In your case, listing appointment. Our case, it would be a demo. Okay, guess what? Not all of them say yes to that. The majority say, you know what, thanks for the follow-up, we're gonna get voicemail. But not ready to talk just yet, I saw your stuff, I got the download, that's cool. I'll call you when it is. What's your next question before you hang up? They say no to a sit down. There it is. Got it. Front row students always do those. Because if you don't put them in here, that lead is dead. You'll forget about them. And now you're seeing you work so hard to get the ground done. You walk away, you don't water fertilizer. Whereas you have that system set up. Later, it terminates 2 months, 2 hours, 2 years, whatever. Just make sure you don't let it die. Okay. Then that covers this. This direct line that Matt talked about is, hey, there's certain publication channels. Well, if we get their contact information, they're going to where you need. They never have to sit down, they never check web properties, but Bauscher's got them in that grid, right? Always opt out. But if you run with the philosophy that once I have a lead, I own them for life. So they opt out. It doesn't mean you're overly effective and come off desperate and all that nonsense. It just means you're gonna stay in front of them and nurture them and guard them from the competition. So that you can win. That's the engine. It'll make more sense for you, especially when Matt goes over here. Okay, moving on. Metrics that you can use. I use one example for our email. The beauty about online stuff is you can measure. Because if you go back here, this is probably the most difficult thing about this entire engine. And the few people do it, it's measuring the results of all this stuff. Don't get hung up on that. But as you advance and evolve your engine, you can make good steps. That's there's your blank. 3 steps to all marketing: plan it, produce it, publish it. We gotta do a quick giveaway. I don't know if you've seen these bottles. They're kind of new. koala, I keep one in my golf, I got the little robo golf cart. And, man, these are nice, ergonomic, this is me selling a pencil, remember that class in college?
Yeah,
We count to sell a pencil,
I did it.
these are cool. This is yours, but hang on. So, $75 in Amazon gift cards. If you scan the QR code, you're gonna get in the drawing to win this and win this together, before you leave today. So. I'm gonna put that back up in just a second, you'll scan it. Now, when you do that, you're gonna get content from us, no surprise. You can opt out, but you won't, because it's awesome. There's examples of the stuff we're gonna teach you, put in your inbox for you. Woo! Thank you. You're welcome.
Can you scan that, ready that?
Yes, sir.
Sure. How many of us are a little overwhelmed? Fire hydrant. We want to talk to people. Straight to escrow, do it again, right? And then the complexities of all this, that feels like I'm back in college or psychology or whatever it is. Where to go? So I always, every analogy I have is sports and farming. Let's say we're farmers and in Ada County in 2019, we had 12,000 acres that we were able to farm. That was ours. That was my territory. Well, now there's 9,000 homes that sold last year. So we immediately have lost 25% of our acreage to farm, grow crops, make money, sell houses. 25, and I expect the same year in 2025 as we had in 2024. People with good interest rates who do not have dire need to transact will not. 40% of the country has no mortgage. They might transact, and the people are going to keep flocking here from the coast. Let me tell you, rocket scientists, for that observation. So we can plan on about 9,000 homes are going to sell, not the 2019 numbers, not the 2020, not the 2021. So when we have less acres to farm, we can have less mistakes. And we went through this exercise after I met with Jim and Nick. I went through this exercise with my team, and we have this mansion I like to think of a business, you know, with shiny countertops and great this and that, and swimming pool. Well, there was water leaking all over the pipes everywhere. I mean, there was probably 50 deals we left on the table by no follow-up, not putting them in the right spot. And a lot of times, if you don't know where the leaks are happening, all of a sudden the home inspection comes and you got mold in the crawl space, but you have no idea who the hell goes in the crawl space, right? So the analogy for this and the timeliness of this, knowing it's gonna be a harder market and we have to sharpen our swords, it doesn't matter if you sold 5 houses or 500, it's applicable to you, and it'll be applicable to you next year, the year after that. So what I'd like to say is lead generation. We all generate way different. And it doesn't matter what system you have, if you can't generate leads, you probably don't have a career, right? You don't have to be this extrovert, high energy, you can be engineer, you can be analytical, you can be passionate. I can tell you 30 different personalities and all of them successful in their own way. So be authentic to yourself first and foremost. How are you getting leads? Have you ever written down on a piece of paper every single way you got a lead in the last couple of years? I challenge you to do that. And then we'll go through this, but social groups, organizations, that could be a million different things where you hang out. Think about that. Are you on an HOA board? Are you volunteering at parent teacher conferences? Are you on a sports team with other parents? Are you church group, fantasy football league? Anything you can possibly imagine for organizations, a car group sets in. Have you got any leads from that? If you haven't, that's an opportunity. Remember, we only have 9,000 acres to farm, not 12,000. Word-to-word referrals. I only work by referral. Yeah, I tried to do that the first 5 years. It was great. Then you hit a plateau because people don't like to openly say, use such and such to sell your home, right? You know, 7 agents. If it goes bad, you look bad. If it goes good, it should have gone good. The referrals, word of mouth is a great backbone, but you can't run a business in this market directly off word of world.
word of mouth referral. And in the last 3 years, I've never gone on more listing appointments in my life. I've never met the people in my entire life. Not friends, not family, not referral, last couple of years. Why? Imagine how many people have moved in here. When I grew up here, we had 25% of the population we have now. So 75% of the people, let's say we have 1 million people in Treasure Valley, it's probably pretty close. 750,000 people did not grow up here. They don't know 89 agents. Everybody that's moved here since the COVID craze, they don't have 8 or 9 agents they know. They're not this overly social people who have roots here for many, many years. So keep that in mind. Direct mail. A lot of people don't want to spend money in direct mail. It's expensive as hell. I'll be the first to admit, when I got that check, I'm like, is there a direct ROI? They even call me off that. They call me off something else. Do I have to spend that money? It's uncomfortable. Because there's sweat equity and there's check equity. Check equity, you're paying money, hoping for money to come back. Sweat equity, you're literally landscaping your seller's house, you're door knocking, you're open house. You are boots on the ground, working, it costs you nothing but time. And obviously, face to face, you're gonna get a better return every single time than spending money hoping it comes back with like a direct mail campaign. If you can get it, but there's only a certain amount of hours in the day. So now it becomes, how much is your time worth? Branded YouTube channels, and I'll send this out to everybody here. Google My Business, email blast, outbound voice calls, video messages, business cards, speaking events, podcasts, hosting events, sporting events, cold mail, direct, there's 1,000 different ways we can get leads. Yesterday, I'm volunteering at my son's kindergarten PE class. And the teacher comes up to me and they have a house that they've owned in their family for many, many years. I start asking her questions. So I'm crescent with him. I'm like, wow, that's quite the street. I bet you're paying $8 grand in property taxes. 10 grand. All of us just talked about that. $10,000 in property taxes. Like, how much are you renting it out for? $2,500 bucks. Oh, you're 30 gross, 10. Oh my gosh. Yeah, it does not make sense. So anywhere you are, you can be caught off. You know, you never know, you have to be on all the time, wherever you are, know what to say, you have no idea where the leads are gonna come from. We all wanna go directly to the buyer consult or the listing appointment, right? We all wanna go here. I would highly push 80%, water always goes downhill. 80% of the people are not gonna go directly to a buyer consult listing appointment. You get a lead generation, you get here. You gotta work hard to get here. Now, it does come here sometimes. So on your guys' sheet, I want you to write all the ways you get leads. How many people do you think is going directly to a meeting? And how many are gonna go, who do they know? Are they verifying calls? Are they calling people to ask about you? Who's worked with you? Can you give me some credible sources? Do you even have a website? What brokers do you work for? Have you ever even sold a house at this price point? They verify you, and I would say they probably verify you on social media more now than anything else. It's the easiest thing. You pop out an app, you type in a name, are they a creeper? Did they make it past this stage? So have that stuff dialed in too. It's never been more important. And then there's, like, when I was talking to the team, a lot of my people that I meet go immediately into this. And this is where all the leaks in my business were coming from. I didn't get a listing appointment. They already knew the credibility was there, but they went in this database. It's called a CRM database. This is kind of your livelihood for the next 10 years. Kind of exciting, it's kind of scary. Because if this thing is leaking, and I have so many agents who used to be really, really successful agents, what, Nick, 6, 7, 5 years ago, and now they're irrelevant. They used to be in the top 10, top 20 of sales. They are irrelevant. None of you would even know their names. And I used to be like, wow, such and such, such and such, such and such. The problem with a lot of them is they're not evolving, they're not testing. This stuff's not fun. It's fun to go through all the percentages of doing this, but also getting out of the business is not fun. All right? It's gonna be hard either way. It's hard to do this stuff. It's hard to not be in the business. So we get to choose our hard, but this is the biggest opportunity. To get them in here, it's not easy. You go to an open house for 4 hours, you leave your family, you set up the signs. You waste 25 minutes on a great conversation. It's either waste or it's really, really beneficial. If you just don't get them in here and you hope that they call, it might pay off some of the time. But imagine if you get them in here and then when you get them in here, you can actually produce out of here. So I want you to fill out how you guys see it, and it might change. We all want to get to contract. When we get to contract, a lot of us are like, all right, the work's done.
That's when you really got, that's a lifelong client program. That is where they come to your events, you're reaching out, you're doing video messages, you're sending them annual CMAs, what is your property worth? 8 years ago, you bought a house with me. This is what it's worth on your investment, you paid 300, it's worth 700. It's tax free if you sell it, you get a $500,000 exemption for your primary home. When we get them in here, and newer agents in this room, you probably don't have a lot of people in here. But if you can get them into here. You gotta capitalize on it. So that's kind of the lead generation. I won't dive into it too much. Feel free to ask questions along the way. Write down everywhere you've got a lead, everybody you've talked to, and if I'm set, he's the open house king. Literally open house king. I would do as many open houses as possible, because they're really good at that. If you're really good at one avenue, go to your strengths. If you're on a basketball team and you're a really good shooter, you should do what you excel at. Well, property marketing. Okay, you get a listing. How do you leverage the listing to get multiple sales? Let's be honest, if you get a buyer, your name is really not really on the internet. If you get a seller, you have your brand, your name, it's on social media, it's on 150 websites, it's everywhere. You're signed, your open house opportunities, neighbors call. It's endless, list to last. Once you get a listing, and let's just look at all the ways you get listings, basically a similar thing. How are you getting listings? If you're not getting listings, why aren't you getting listings? What are you doing to get listings? Without breaking the bank, like creatively, what are you trying to do to get listings? Listings are harder to get because there's less opportunities now, right? Of the 9,000, a third of them are new construction. Are you getting into new construction? It's half our market. Canyon County is half our market. It's a third to 40% of our market in Ada County. And the national builders are all going to use employees, right? They want employees. They want their own title company. They want their own lending. They want to kick us out to the curb. So how do we get new construction? How do we get to the farmer? That's a huge piece of the pie. Are we going to dedicate all our team? $1 million first. What's your forte? Take advantage of opportunities. House up that. He goes there, closes them on the spot. We're under contract, 800 grand. He's the buyer agent. He leveraged the listing with an open house, provided information, knew his numbers, got him on the spot. Boom. Now, if you go back, they're in the client tree. She's an agent from Oregon. She knows a lot of people. So he went from open house, which is on the last sheet, straight to contract, straight to here in one afternoon. Obviously, that's what we all want to do. Is it realistic? Probably not all the time. But what we try to do is professional everything. I don't care if it's a $500,000 house or a $2 million house. It has to look good. You can't have something that doesn't look presentable on the internet because it's more than just that house, right? It's your brand that you're building. So to let a seller say, I'm not going to clean the house, I'm not going to stage the house. All right, well, we're not going to list the house because it's so much greater than that.
Yeah.
Right, and if you can articulate that to the seller, they'll respect that and they'll still work with you, right? Do you have a good question? No. Okay, and so it's gonna look really good. You're gonna prepare the house to look really, really, really good because it's an audition for future listings. Imagine if it looks like crap and I'm the neighbor.
Yeah.
And it doesn't sell for a good price. Why the hell would I call Bauscher when the house looked like crap, wasn't staged? Didn't sell for a good price. Why? Right? That was your, if you're on a basketball, if you're on a basketball tryout and you don't try out well, you're not gonna make the team. If you have a listing and it doesn't sell and it doesn't look better, it has to be high at every single one because that's your audition. Not to mention, if you can get them to sold. Not only do they get in this, that's gonna be your bread and butter for the next decade, every family member, every friend, all of a sudden this thing can be a machine. So how, I guess, how do you get a listing? When you get a listing, how are you gonna showcase it? We have a lot of ways in there you can get creative. You can do messages, you can do live videos, you can do open houses, you can do post mail campaigns. You can do target adding on social media. I want a sauna, and I talk about that on this phone, and now all of a sudden, all these people are advertising this brand of sauna, and that brand of sauna, they're following you, they're tracking you. But if I were to start and I were to come into this market and I would be a new ager, I moved from Florida. I would try to meet as many people as humanly possible that are like-minded. I would try to send as many open houses to get face to face. And I would completely push the brand, the business aspect wholeheartedly. If I'm new to a market, you have enough with other things. And the great thing with technology now is the AI. I mean, the AI has made our lives so much easier. I'm in a listing appointment and I get out and I literally type every single detail on here of the house, what we talked about. And I said, create a narrative, and it creates a rough draft narrative that's 1,000 characters. Because the second, if you don't get on these systems, the second you get in the car, you just had an hour and a half meeting that went perfect. And you don't have good systems, what's gonna happen? You're gonna forget what you talked about. You have 4 other calls come in, you have life, you have family, all this stuff comes in. There's no way you're gonna remember every single meeting you had throughout the day. And a lot of people don't have teams, and it's you and only you to do this. You have to leverage AI. Kevin,
How often or if ever do you audio record your meeting?
never. I never have. No. I've heard people actually do that. Is it okay if I record the meeting? Naturally, like if somebody says they're recording me, I'm just not myself. Just like when you go into a house and our sellers have cameras everywhere, I discourage that too.
Yeah.
I don't think people are gonna be free in a house if there's cameras everywhere. And when I'm in a house, showing a house to a buyer agent, and they're talking, oh, hey, I don't wanna talk about any numbers, cameras probably everywhere. The buyers immediately, oh, I appreciate that, I didn't think about that. So we have to go, we go outside the house, and then I don't like cameras being shown, it's a heads up. But to stay organized, I think just get ChatGPT, it's so cheap, it keeps you organized on your meetings, it's basically an assistant, you don't have to pay for. And it's so nice because it keeps you organized, you can even send it a bunch of emails you've sent, and it'll know exactly how you talk, the words you use. It's wild. It's wild what it can do.
What CRM are you using for your drips? And when you did the audit last week, where did you find the leaks? How did you discover the type?
Follow-up box we use.
Yeah.
And there's 1,000 that are great. I mean, the CRM to be, as long as, a good CRM is one you use, first and foremost. You don't have to have an expensive CRM to be successful. Girl, I had a whiteboard, no CRM, I sold 100 houses with no assistant on the whiteboard, literally. Leads, listings. It doesn't have to be this most expensive elaborate CRM ever. But one thing you can do is go on your CM, like how many listings you've gone, go on your cloud CMA. Look at every single listing you've gone on, because you probably perform a comparable market analysis, and then look at all the ones you didn't get. And then you look on the internet and you see, holy crap, or Christmas card time. You have your list of your clients for Christmas card time, and I'm getting returned to sender sent, I'm throwing it on Sarah's desk like this, and we had no damn clue. They've resold the house, bought another house. We had no clue. Sending Christmas cards to the next owner. $6 each. But that shows, I mean, this has leaky spots that we can fix now, right? Good habits. The stuff that worked 10 years ago, 20 years ago, it's different now.
Yeah.
It's forever changing. And it's, yep, it's funny. A text message from CRM, no. Yeah, and we don't use AI to write back emails either, more to like organize narrative. I do emails for a template though. Because like you talk to an out-of-state buyer for 45 minutes, are you really gonna spend an hour to type up the whole thing? Or if you break it down in 45 seconds, have a template, change 7 words in a minute, and boom, you're on to the next.
But you gotta do it, you gotta keep track of birthdays, life events, the year they bought the house,
Yeah.
like Sarah puts on my desk. Everybody. In January, the 1 year anniversary of the one, you'd be shocked how many people respond when you do a video message. I'll just give you guys an idea of responses that work. So we're doing a little thing on a little challenge on our team. The 5,000. So I did, I think 30 of them in probably an hour,
Yeah,
29 people responded.
wow.
You send a text message, maybe half. Phone call, people probably answer, I say. Look, what do you guys think, when you make a phone call, what percentage of people pick up the phone today? 10%. 10 to 20?
Yeah.
Maybe a third?
Yeah.
Third, if you're, they wanna talk to you, a third, right? So the thing that's convenient with the video message, and this is like my huge interest now, they get to see you, when they can't, when you don't wanna probably have time to see all these people in person, took you 30 seconds. You made it personable. They always respond, so you know it's working, you did it on your time, within your schedule. It's cost you $0. It feeds, no, it's uncomfortable to do self videos, it's not fun, like, it's
I
not
love
fun. It's not fun. But it stands out because I bet they didn't get a video message from anybody else last month. Yes, only text. Email, spam, all that, you get way better response from text. Somebody says, I emailed you.
Matt, do you actually take video yourself?
Yeah, every time. Yeah,
No. Yeah. no.
no. Old school. No filter. You're like a slim filter. Sure. That's how we. The truth. I drink champagne, it's midnight, and then in the back of my head, I know the whiteboard, we sold 0 houses. We had 0 listings sold, 0 buyers sold, I'm like, holy shit, it feels like I just went in a 12-round boxing match, got my ass beat up, I got it up the next morning, and I'm walking like this to go fight again. That's the truth. Do I convey that to the client who I'm trying to get excited to buy? No, but you just imagine all the financial obligations I've taken on from January 1st with 0 sales. That keeps me going, right? That keeps firing my belly. Like 0. We all are at the exact same number at that moment.
Yes, that's awesome.
And it's uncomfortable.
Yeah, but I think it says so much about your mentality and fortitude. That's important. Said.
Yeah.
It's truly starting over, and guess what, starting over itself. It doesn't do anything. It's also a motivation, absolutely. All stuff.
And everything's changed. Like a year ago, I wasn't talking about AI like this, and there was no lawsuit, and there was no conversation with the contract. But I think the encouraging thing is too, like we did this in our team meeting yesterday, is like, what is your why? Because if my why was strictly money and selling houses, okay, we sold 300 million last year. It'll probably take 2 years off, right? Be okay?
That doesn't motivate me. What motivates me is my team, their families, the Boise Rescue Mission, like making a difference in the community. And then helping people transform their lives who are trusting us to move here, selling, and everything they have is tied to the equity. And if we don't do every little step to get them every penny of their house on the equity, you know, we're not doing the professional duty that we have an Amherst Madison. I mean, we're different, they call us because we're different, and it's our job to get them everything they deserve. But that's what keeps, I think, going in the morning, trying to stay on edge is yesterday's gone, you're owning up. And coffee.
And copy.
Any more questions for I yes? Little things are big things, right? You don't think it's little till, like Jim said, 2 years later, they kept a nice printed material you had. And the old, like, I would say the people who are homeowners that don't have debt, most of them are 60 years or older, let's be honest. The 40% of the country has no debt. They hold on to print material and they appreciate it. Think about the generation. A lot of the people don't want to throw away something. They work so hard for it, right? That's why we go into these houses and they're cluttered, they don't want to let go. Same with print material. You have nice print material, you spend the extra $100. All of a sudden, you keep following up and out of the blue, they call you.
A lot of older people don't know how to use the internet. I think of my dad and I go to his house and he gives me a pile of coupons for landscapers or, you know, people who he's interested in calling. Because he doesn't use the internet. He's asked me for the allocations. There are no more applications. There
Yeah.
are, but they're not relevant.
Yeah, absolutely.
Older people don't use it.
And those are the people we want to get, right, that actually have equity. It's not the under 35s. No more questions, right? I'm sorry, I'm leaving. Guys. Yeah. Wait, Mike said I was preaching the other way.
I love it.
Perfect. All right. Yeah, before I get started, this has been like a little secret weapon of mine for a long time. I'll share it with you guys. Now, it's mostly, it's interesting trends, but it's mostly national. It's mostly brokerage level, but there's also some neat stuff here. This guy named Stefan Swalwell started a company called T360 like 10 years ago. And they put out this newsletter here. This is just called the Real Estate Trends T360 2025. It's nationwide. He doesn't do it every year, but he started kicking out a lot of other like small business and supplements, it's like luxury real estate trends, construction global trends. It's absolutely in-depth, spot on, fascinating research. All the real estate nerds out there like me, get this bad boy. It's really useful stuff. And all of the specific numbers you see, I'm about to show you that are national team. So I always find this ironic, and I'm gonna start with the end in mind as I like to do, and the end is this: nothing changes if nothing changes in your life. So if you want to have a different year this year, you gotta do different things than you did last year. I can see the future, you guys. If you want to know what your year's gonna be like this year, just show me your activity that you did last year and tell me if you're doing the same thing or something different. And the industry, you know, the more things change, the more they stay the same. What I mean by that is like all this security drives back to the fundamentals. So we just talked to you about all these, the Marcomm mentioned, and all these arrows and numbers and stats. What does it come down to? Have a plan, prospect generation, it's a prospect conversion every day, educate yourself. We talk about the 4 pillars of success in our training system, right? Anybody know what those 4 are? Anybody at all? Personal, professional development, prospect generation, prospect conversion, and client service. That's the industry in 4 categories. It's all we do. Right? So keep that in mind as you watch this presentation, that you're going to wind up right where we started.
Has anybody ever seen this before, that favorite ice cream? This has been like an international study that they've done. You know, Telos crushes everybody else. You know that?
I love
It's
vanilla.
like top 10 ice cream flavors in the world ranked. Vanilla 1, chocolate 2, butter pecan, and a bunch of also rants that nobody cares about. Right? So you can take this, and we go back and forth. This is called Zipf's law. You guys want to nerd out on it? Google it, go ahead, fact check me. You'll find out a lot more than what's listed in me. But we're gonna take all, this is a distribution, and they have studied populations and industries and groups of people and favorite ice creams and favorite cars and favorite colors and anything you can imagine. And it always distributes exactly like what you see on the screen. Have you ever seen this before? So here's the thing, it's just like with ice cream, right? You can see that distribution curve. There's some important takeaways that you should think about here. Number one, the first place gets twice as much market share as number 2, 5 times as much market share as number 5, and 10 times as much market share as number 10. Right? So think about this as an example for your business. Let's say you know 100 people, a group of 100 people, and you want to be their agent. You want to be the go-to. Right? You want to be the number 1 person. You want to be here. You don't want to be here, here, or even here. You want to be number 1, maybe number 2. Here's the good news. Those 100 people, right? They all know 10 agents. Everybody knows 10 agents. We all know that. But you guys have to think about this. 50% to 60% of agents are hobbyists. And what I mean by that is they don't market, they don't prospect, they don't work, so they don't exist. Yes, you don't exist if you're not marketing, prospecting, getting your name out there, calling people, building relationships, having all these marketing channels. So half the people are just immediately gone. They don't even matter. So really, you're only competing with a group that's half the size that you think. And a better example might be if you have a group of 10 people, you only have to compete with agents that are up here because the ones down here don't even market or prospect. So just by being in the game and doing something, you're in the top 50%, top 40%, like instantly. You have to focus on relevance first and getting your name out there before you start focusing in and obsessing over quality. But then the next step is, yeah, you gotta focus on quality and value in order to be 1, 2, 3. This shouldn't discourage you, this should encourage you, because what it means is that when you take a small market sample of 100 people, you absolutely can crush it if you just follow the formulas that we give. But if you don't focus on being in the top 3 agents from your group of people, you're gonna be dying in it. Also ran, nobody matters. First place, great. Second place, yeah, you almost made it. Everybody else, we don't care. That's human nature. So the other reason I put this up here is because I'm going to talk a lot about consolidation and the rich get richer and everybody's cries about it and knows about it. And the industry keeps getting more consolidated. You guys, nothing has changed. This is a distribution across every industry, every walk of life, every group of people. First, second, third have always made all the money. They've always had all the market share. This is nothing new, right? Same old, same old. So here's some trends from 2024. We all know about the legal and regulatory changes within our selling. I hope more people know about that than know about my 4 pillars of success. Like, apparently, I need to help that job better. So we all know about that. I'll talk a little bit more about what that changed in terms of negotiations, right? But now there's a box we put on the R21. You know, what's the commission going to be? There's some more back and forth you got to be aware of negotiating with your seller. What are they going to pay? What are they not going to pay? How does that reflect on the R21? What's different the same? Like, no. Why should I pay a buyer's agent? You got to answer that question every time now. So national home sales, 4.8 million is the same as 2023. So 2023 is more we're basically flat on in terms of home sales. The average from 89 to 22 was 5.6 million. Again, this is national, but our local numbers actually in terms of percentages are very close to this. So you can see the difference in how much we're down. Interest rates are, I'm sorry for all of us that were like, oh, 2025, baby, 2% rates. It's gonna rain. I'm sorry. Sorry. You're gonna hear me say something today that you're not gonna like, but I'm gonna start now. New normal. Get used to it. Get used to it.
Right.
Get used to the way the
Okay.
market is right now, because it is not changing anytime soon.
Yeah.
Rates are gonna stay between 6 and 7%. You got the 50-year average, we don't say this in real estate, don't kind of forget it. The 50-year average for mortgage rates is what? 7.74%, baby. That's the 50-year average. Which we're under right now.
Yeah.
Take all these ideas and fanciful notions about these 4%, 3%, and forget about it. It's not happening. Unemployment is low, historically low. We've added more jobs. Some of the numbers about how many jobs in the United US has added last year is staggering. It's like record breaking for the last 50 years. They have no incentive to lower rates. High price interest rates have created affordability issues. We'll talk about it. Consolidation, again, like, I'm gonna talk about it because Swan Pool, everybody's talking about it, but I kind of look at that and I'm like, I don't think. It's always been consolidated. That's the way the world works. But the 100 largest residential real estate companies sell 40% of all the residential real estate companies. You guys, there's 110,000 real estate brokers. Let's say that again. There's 110,000 brokerages in the top 100 sell 40%.
Wow.
How about that?
Wow.
It's like the top. What is that? Top like
Staggering.
1%, so 40% of all real estate. That's pretty mind-blowing. Here's one that is a solid takeaway in the next slide. 2017 existing home sales, not new, but existing 8.1 transaction size per agent. Today, that number is going on 5.3. Right? So here's challenge number one, fewer at bats. I don't know what anybody that's baseball, fewer at bats, just few opportunities, right? You're going to simply have fewer at bats in this environment than you had in 2019, 2020, 2021. That's just the reality. Fewer opportunities. Negotiations. I've been saying this for 6 months before the settlement. The number one impact of the settlement, it wasn't the little box we have out in the original. It wasn't explaining its negotiation. It was all the It wasn't explaining buyer's agents. It wasn't do a buyer consultation. You guys, for God's sakes, we've been teaching the buyer consultation for 15 years. Like, day one of real estate, my number one mistake is I wasn't doing buyer consultation. We're not in the first 3 months in business. Get them down, have a professional sit-down meeting, have a buyer consultation, right? We all know this. Here's the change. Is the news media, the mass media just gave every seller in the country, every buyer in the country, a machine gun. That machine gun was labeled how to negotiate with your realtor. That was the number one change. That was the number one fallout of public that. Is they just machine gun the entire country on, yeah, it's negotiable, and here's how you do it. So you have to step your game up when it comes to negotiations. You cannot go into the buyer consultation, seller consultation, it doesn't matter, without a plan, without talking points, without confidence on how to do this. We're going to be doing classes and masterminds and negotiation off and on through the whole year. I was just having a conversation with you about this last night. I was track of days, but if you guys want to sneak peek into some of the stuff we'll teach, look up Chris Voss. He was an FBI negotiator in the Black Swan Group. He actually wrote a book called The Full Fee Agent because he saw the need in real estate, but he doesn't know real estate. He's like high stakes possible. Like everything he teaches is gold. You guys know the master class? You guys ever know about the master classes and videos? Watch his video series. It's absolutely fantastic, but you've got to set your game up. Commission compression has been happening for 20 years. Right? And by the way, one of the reasons that the percentage of commissions has been going down is because guess what else has been happening? Sale price of homes has been going up. Yeah, like people say, oh, look at commissions 20 years ago. This is 20 years ago. I mean, how much money do you need to make? Right? What are you talking about here? You know, so, and mostly on the buyer side, but it's a challenge. You know, activity. I have a hard time with this slide because to me, that's really the only challenge. It's this up here that tells us that it's a bad market. There's no opportunity. We can't be successful. You know, this new normal, it means all the realtors are going to leave the business because of nothing. So that's bullshit. Okay. I just pulled these numbers from MLS this morning. Now, this is everything. It's not just existing. It's everything. Existing and new. Ada County in 2019, there was 18,000 sold transactions. 18,000 transactions, 36,000 transaction size. If we're looking at it. Average sales price, not median, but average is 3.8. So in 2019, the median Kent County, we sold $6.3 billion in real estate. Right? 2024, at 18,000 went down to 14,000, but what happened to the average sales price? It's 562, which means that we sold 7.9 billion, almost $2 billion more in real estate last year than we sold in 2019. How do you guys get paid? Commission. What is the commission based off?
Oh, prices.
Sales volume. So you tell me, is there more opportunity to earn now or in 2019?
Now.
Now, but here's the trick, right? And we'll go back to this. Is that there's fewer at bats, so it's been consolidated into fewer transactions, and the stakes are what? Stakes are higher. Right? The stakes are higher. It's a skills market. This is the opportunity to hone your skills and be better than the other 10 agents that everybody knows, so that they use you and not them. If the stakes are higher, then guess what? You gotta step up your game. You gotta show up to every appointment ready to go. And you can't take anything for advantage, and as Matt was talking about. Matt can maybe afford to have a leaky ship, because he's got a fucking aircraft carrier. I was once out there in a little rowboat. And I got a problem. I got a problem right now, and if I don't fix it, I'm gonna be drowning as we're swimming with sharks. You get me? So we all have leaks, all of us. You're really off color joke, but I'm not going to. Even though we don't have an HR department, I can probably get away with it. But guys, skills market. Conversion. Somebody raises their hand as their prospect, they say, I'm interested in what you're doing. What is your process and what are your skills? How are you going to convert that to a client, and how are you going to convert that client? We talked about the client journey. I'm going to draw that thing, and so you guys are sick and tired and you want to throw up. That client journey is a visual depiction of what you have to do as an agent. How are you going to get them to prospect? How are you going to get them to client? How are you going to get them to contract? How are you going to close? Skills. Or you're going to be in the leaky boat, me, right? Drown. Not really good. It's a good vision. Negotiation, I already talked about it. Agents who understand how to negotiate are winning right now. They're winning. The ones who don't are losing. They're getting confronted with these questions that the news media, they were the machine gun they arm the consumer with. Well, they're getting hit and they don't know what to do. You gotta figure this out. Engage, come to classes, come to masterminds, watch videos, read books. You don't have to wait for me to have a class. All the information that I'm gonna show you is ripped off somebody else. If I do that, I'm great. I take this stuff and I rip it off. And everyone's like, oh, this is crazy information. I just ripped it off. And you can do the same, right? That's the point. Nothing new under the sun, you guys, everything is ripped off and it's all out there. Technology and AI, right? Matt talked about this. So the sharp agents are leveraging ChatGPT to write listing descriptions. You guys, I think it's cringe telling you this, but nobody should write a listing description.
Right.
You go train ChatGPT. What I mean by that is just spend an hour going back and forth with it, upload some data, tell them about yourself, tell them about the real estate market, tell them about what you sell, how you like to talk, give us some examples of blogs or social media posts you've done. It's creepy, telling you, but it also works. And the next time you get a listing, I would go to bet you that everybody in this room, in 5 minutes, you could take a piece of paper and pen, and you could put down 5 to 7 points that describe that listing. Am I correct there? You guys all do that bull. It's not a narrative, not writing a paragraph of that bullshit. Well, guess what? If you put those bullet points in the ChatGPT and say, write a listing description not to exceed, how many characters do you have a list time?
1024.
1,000 characters. Back in the day, we had 512. I don't corrupt. How many 1,000? But you'll have a listing description in 30 seconds. Stop. Like sitting there agonizing about the listing description. This thing will generate, I got an image in this slide deck that was generated by Google Slide AI. So now Google Slides has an AI integrated. So I had a picture I'll show you that I wanted to swap out. But I already showed. So we're gonna, that's AI. So I had this slide and this slide are exactly the same slide in terms of formatting. But I didn't want to use the same image twice. So I right clicked on that previous image. And the AI box pops up in the right hand of Google Slides, and I said, guy in an office that's frustrated. So, 15 seconds. And that's where this thing is really exciting now. It's not just ChatGPT. Now, all these big companies have scale. It takes them longer because they have scale, they have integrated across all the platforms. Now, they're starting to integrate their tools and platforms that the market is already adopted, and this stuff is just getting scary how fast it can be. You guys have presentations all the time. They're called consultations.
Yeah.
Our consultations are all the time. We just don't necessarily know it. Use this stuff. Embrace the new normal, you guys. So there was about 14,000, up from 13,000 in 2023, up from 12,000 in 2022. So reasonably assume it's going to be what, 15,000 this year. Ain't counting, right? That's 12,500 a month, you guys. People out there doing deals. My question is, are you going to be their agent, or is some other bozo going to be their agent? I want it to be you. Stop saying new things to old people. Start saying old things to new people. But sit on this for a second. Guys, this is like a disease that we all have. Right? And I'm the funniest example of the most relevant to me. I was thinking it was just relationships. Because you'll see people that will go back to that same ex again and again and again and again. You guys stop going back to your abusive ex. Stop. Stop. Go find somebody new. You do this horrible disapproach thing. Right? Because it's uncomfortable to go have a new conversation with a new person. This is, but the old things part is also fascinating, is because we have this group of individuals, and we just keep thinking that if we just say the right new thing to this group, somehow it's going to result in more money. And meanwhile, there's this other group over here, and there's one over here, and there's one over here, and there's one over here. And these guys are all transacting, but we don't have any piece of that pie. Because we're just obsessed with beating up the same group of people again, again. There's nothing new under the sun, guys. That the tactics that work, they'll always work if you do. And if you don't work with it, they won't. But what's the work? The work is getting out of your comfort zone. Hi, I'm Matt. Hi, I'm Seth. I'm doing open houses. He's Matt said I was. Introducing yourself to these new people. Right? Like, guys, this isn't rocket science. So real estate. Everyone knows that when you talk to them, when you pitch what you do, like they understand in about 3 seconds. You say you're real estate agent, you know what that is. You've got to have conversations with new people. This year, challenge yourself every week. Step outside of your comfort zone and have these conversations with people, and it's amazing what happens. You know, one of the most interesting things that Matt said that I'm going to repeat was all these people that have just moved here in the last few years, they don't know anything. I just think that's absolutely fascinating. So this whole concept, I mean, even what I was saying, like everyone knows head agents, that's not true. They just moved here, they want to call. They don't know any. Maybe they know one, guy that's sold their house. Woman that's sold their house, they're calling it whatever. Isn't that interesting? You think about that?
Some of them don't even know any, they just fly in and start with their phone, like they start.
And since agents don't market themselves, even the one that they bought the house from, they probably couldn't say their name. Because they never stayed in touch. You know, they sit in the gift basket.
You know.
Make 20 grand and give somebody $100 gift basket, let's slap in the face. All right, do a little white numbers and we'll get out of here. So. Think about this, take notes. I want you to apply this to you. This is the question. How many transactions will you do in 2025? I'm gonna wait because I want you guys to write a number down. I'm not gonna keep talking, stay here all day. I want everyone to write the number down. A number. Not a story. Not a reason. Not a why, just the number. How many transactions do you want to close escrow on? There's no wrong answer, there's no right answer. The only wrong answer is not having any. You gotta have it. In order for this to make sense. All right. Don't worry, I'm not gonna ask what your number is.
For the sake of the conversation, I'll just use 24. Okay, let's say we want to close 24 deals this year. Did that work out? January, 7. 24. So by December 31st, you want 24 houses sold in this example. Well, I'm not a math genius, but 24 divided by 12 would mean you gotta do how many a month? 2. Right? Okay. All good so far. Here's the problem, this is what we all do with our goals. This is how we screw up these things. Is, once again, I won't call anybody out, but if you don't sell 2 in January, how many have to sell in February? 4. If you don't sell any in January or February, how many do you have to sell in March? 6. If you don't sell any first 3 months, now how far behind are you? See how this goes? You get behind like that. And the problem with how we all set our goals is we only think about this. We don't think about this. It's like starting to die. When's the best thing to start to die? Tomorrow. It's bullshit. Somebody give me a drink. I'm starting this tomorrow. Well, tomorrow comes, and then it's like, oh shit, now I'm really behind. Better than I was last night. Actually, extending my life. No. Now I'll start next month. Too fat. Now I'm so fat, I have to be 400 pounds. Like it's okay. I've just given up. I have given up. Right? Use whatever example you guys want. The funny, I think weight is the most funny because actually it's easier to control and not always as destructive to our professional life. But that is our life. That's most of us and how we operate. It's terrible because this should scare the shit out of you. Because this is your life that we're talking about. This is not a joke. This is your life. It's your professional life. If you're here, you want to take it serious, you want to make money, you want financial freedom, everybody writes all the reasons down. I want this, 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 I want to help people, I want to donate money. Well, this is your reality, right? So the reality is that if you didn't do 2 deals this month, now you got to do 4 next month. And we'll take it a step further, we'll talk about your prospects and your pipeline. I'm gonna get real now. I'm not gonna do this to you, but it's what I encourage you to do is, if you didn't do any deals this month, next thing I want you to do is pull your calendar out, and I want you to look at how many buyer consultations or listing appointments you have in your calendar for the next 2 weeks. Because guess what? If that number is also 0, how many deals are gonna do in February? 0. Good. The time is now. So from a prospect standpoint, and I'm going to tie this right back in with Matt and Jim's presentation. Let's say, just for instance, about 24, mathematically, you guys, by the way, and we used to do this in training, maybe we should do it again, but we had a spreadsheet that I had built, and the numbers are all different now because the conversion numbers have changed. But basically what it was, you could put in at the top how many deals you wanted to close, and then lead down through conversion percentages, and what it would spit out is how many leads you had to generate every single month in order to be successful. We don't have time to throw that right now. So I'm just going to say that to hit your goals, you need to generate 100 prospects. Somebody tell me what 100 divided by 12 is. Yeah, we need to generate this month. The answer is 0. How many you have to generate next month?
16,
You still have a goose egg. How many you have to generate in March?
24.
24. agents trap themselves because they don't have urgency and they don't have specificity, but then here's the third thing they don't have, is they don't have enough channels, they don't have enough cylinders in their engine. They rely too heavily on one or two, because this is what's tough, right? Let's say that you rely completely on phone, text, and video messages. Right? That's it, that's the only thing you do, that's your only channel. How many do you have to generate from that every month? 8, that's tough. For most agents, like that's tough, if that's the only thing you do. And you start talking, well, I gotta generate 100 a year, and then, by the way, a bunch of those don't convert, so the number's probably actually 500. This is also, you want to light a fire under your ass. If you have to do me a favor, guys, if you want the spreadsheet that I talked about, send me a text, don't email me. Send me a text, and I will send you that spreadsheet when I'm done with it. And you can fill the numbers in and see how this thing flows. If you want to light a fire under your ass, that spreadsheet will do. It takes all the percentages out on conversion and how many you actually have to generate. But here's where this starts getting more interesting. Is if you're also doing open houses. And you've also got a newsletter. And you also do classes, you go to events. Right, you're putting on education events and classes. And of course, you're doing the old college try with social media and email content. Now, this pie gets a lot easier to swallow. Because now, maybe you only have to generate 2 from a class. And your newsletter, maybe you generated 1. And you can see pretty quickly, you guys, how these numbers, maybe 3 people came from an open house. Maybe your phone calls got you 2. Maybe you got 1 organically from social media, and boom, 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 boom. This is the power of that Marcomm mention that they were showing. This is what makes all things possible and all dreams possible. It's exceedingly difficult to hit these numbers if you are just siloed into one channel. It's very, very, very difficult. And when you dig into everybody's business, like what Jim did for years out in the country, this is what he found. Oh, they've got multiple sources, like multiple streams of income. Have you heard that? Right? That's what a lot of us want. It's like create multiple streams. This is multiple streams of income. And we've got to have it. Well, questions about that? Pretty much out of time. Threw a lot at you. Got one more slide, but you guys have questions about this? Nothing? All dialed in? Fine.
So, I think one of the things I have found myself stuck on is when it comes to like email newsletters and what do I spend, right? What is valuable to client? What do I come up with? That's on. What does it matter?
No, it matters, but the template is also very predictable in terms of what you need to say. So I'm just gonna rattle some stuff off, okay? Community information that's relevant to them. The local, specific, and something that they can't necessarily find easily, but even if they could find it, you're saying to them, they can use it. School information, events, celebrations, what's going on in the city, obviously, market information, market data, but you guys remember, people have data. They've all got the data. They don't have professional interpretation of what the data means. So that's what you can give them, and that's not, right? It's the numbers, but then what does this mean? Right? ChatGPT, I'll ChatGPT to write you a newsletter, and will. We've got templates in Studio already. It's easy to make it beautiful. We've got the design templates in Studio for newsletter. You can grab those things, you can use ChatGPT, fill in the blanks, you can create one very, very, very quickly. Design trends is another funny one. Architecture, specific, home of the month. This is what's going on with interior design. This is what's in, this is what's out. This is what was, there's no more brown houses that people want to buy, right? You guys know the brown house trend? Ugh, I lived in one of those at one point, right? Matt and I talk about this all the time. How many $1 million plus homes selling medium treasure values are brown on the outside? Very, very, very few. Right, so this is another thing. And you can have fun with it and tailor it after your brand. So what do I mean by that? Well, if you have a specific area that you want to target, you tailor your newsletter after that. You have a specific, you want to do new construction, new development, you're going to tailor your newsletter after that. Here's all the new communities coming up that you don't know about, but I just pulled the permits, talking to municipalities, and I know everything that's coming. It's all public information. So that's the fun thing for me about a newsletter is that it gives you this communication channel, but you can also use it to build the brand that you want to build. All right, you guys ever heard this quote, the harder you work, the luckier you get? I was just talking to Mike D about this. Some of this stuff benefits you in ways that you don't immediately see. And recruiting, by the way, so recruiting agents is very similar to like getting listing and getting selling. In terms of the process and what goes into it, and the patience and marketing, and you have this flow and this Marcomm engine of channels, and you have to convert them, it's very similar. Right, and we've had stuff happening recently where like people walk in the brokers, they want to talk to us. Nick's stalker ratio of LinkedIn is going through the roof. Somebody showed up at the office and there's been all these like random occurrences, like people call the phone number and they're in Seattle, there was a powerhouse couple, they want to talk to us about moving their license. Hey, it's not ransom. You know why that's happening? Because we have significantly ramped up newsletters, email marketing, social media. That's why it's happening. It's the same thing in your business. Somebody always doesn't say, oh yeah, I saw your last social media post, you killed it, I want to buy a house. But you're gonna notice something very interesting, and this is where you just have to trust, that as you ramp this stuff up, rise and tide lifts all ships, baby. Like you will start getting deals in business and you don't even know where it's coming from. This is where it's coming from. It's because you're communicating with the world, like you're sending stuff out there and they're searching around, they're finding you. Right, because you're communicating. I'll tell you a really, really, really creepy thing about ChatGPT. I almost didn't even say this. I just learned this an hour ago. I obviously go back and forth to ChatGPT all the time. You know what I find the most beneficial for you guys is brainstorming. It is a very, very good brainstorming partner. Hey, I'm trying to think of, ideas for a different newsletter, like it could give you names, right? But I'm trying to think. So I use it to brainstorm sometimes for my speeches and for these summits. Some guy called Janelle, called the main line this morning, asking information about our sales summit, because he wanted to come check it out. Guess who told him about it? ChatGPT.
Wow.
Is that weird?
What?
So because I'm using it and teaching it and communicating with it about it, knows about this. So, hey, you know what? You can change part of life, you can embrace it, or you can run over by it. It is what it is, but this thing I think is harder all the time, because we all eat it. They literally told us that, oh yeah, go check it out. That's insane. I call that a lead. I mean, you might need to add. It's like the new Google. Wow. Wow. So I heard this. It was Al Pacino wrote a book about himself. He calls a
Memoir.
And some crazy guy named David used to say this. Like I said about you guys, you don't kill time, time kills you. And I laugh, but I tie it into something Derek and I talk about, which is the difference between time management, which is a myth and can't do it, and prioritization. And that's why I put that up there for you guys, is you have to take control of the priorities in your life if you want to accomplish all these things. You can't manage time, and you certainly can't kill it, but you can manage your priorities. And I'll leave you with the same thing I started yelling about a minute ago. You guys, if I can like pull one thing out of myself right now, and give it to you. Actually, I need two. It's urgency, and it's this concept of momentum. Urgency. You have to have an urgency level right now for your business that is like way up here. If you want to accomplish everything, hopes, dreams, goals, and transactions. If you can bring your urgency level up and take drastic action right now, you'll have the best year of your career. All this bullshit about the market doesn't matter. It matters what are you gonna do? Right? What are you gonna do today, right now? You guys all have this today. The diet's gotta start today. I'm sorry. It's got to start today, because tomorrow it's even easier to put it off, and the next day it's even easier to put it off, and pretty soon you remember you want to do in the first place. And the second, you guys, life is momentum. This one is almost scary, but it's so true. Sports. How many of you watch sports? Like pretty regularly. Okay, we all know, like sports is a momentum game. Right, Jay, you know this. I mean, you're watching a football game, right? And like you can tell immediately when the momentum is shifting. Mansion. Mike, like, you just like, boom, it's like, oh, now they got it. Now they got it. Well. Yes. So.
To go Chiefs.
So when you're in the game, it's harder to see. How many of you actually play sports? It's harder to see when you're in it. You see, you feel it, think about that. When you're watching it, oh, it's instant, like you can see it. When you're in it, it's much more difficult to see, but you still can, you guys, because check this out, like sports is this tiny little hour, 2 hour, 3 hour thing. It's literally like in a box that we're all sitting there watching, either on TV or in live person, and you can see all the stuff happening really fast. Life is the exact same way, business is the exact same way, you just can't see it. But the same thing is happening, and it's exciting and scary, and it's what makes life fun. But it's a momentum business. Here's the good news is. Well, and none of us will. But you make 5 phone calls every day for the rest of the week. You can send 10 video messages every day for the rest of the week. You can get open houses on the calendar for February and market the shit out of them so people show up. Get their information and follow up, put them into a cylinder. Like this is all stuff that you can start doing with momentum. You start going to lunch every day with somebody until you find a good strategic partner. One of those strategic partners are come to lunch next Tuesday because I'm teaching them. What is a strategic partner in business? That's what we talk about. One of the things we talk about with leadership, right? You can build those relationships now. You can start doing the social media content. Bonnie wants to do a newsletter. She can have a newsletter out by the end of the day. Right? So you will, but do it. Let's see it. So momentum is your friend, or it can be your worst enemy. Think about that. If you guys are feeling down, if things haven't gone your way, it's because you've lost your momentum, and there's only one way to get it back, and that's to take action. That's my call for you guys today is just take action, some kind of action. We always say massive action. I don't think that's misleading because it doesn't have to be massive. Pick your phone, start calling people, go have a conversation, go watch something good. Put some content out there. Try sending out a newsletter for 6 months. It'll work. It always works. Remember that slide about old things? Guys, it always works. Like there's nothing new around the stuff. That shit works. If you work the system will work for you. Okay? All right, having said all that, got an announcement. So we brought Derek Schlekeway on, sitting in the back, I'm gonna bring him up here in a second. A few months ago on a contract, safety, coach agents or something. And, all right, come on. See, and he has absolutely crushed it. So now he's on a contract, now he's our new vice president of growth business development. So I want you guys to please welcome Derek Schlekeway. Derek, can you for a minute, just introduce himself. He's been in the business for a long time. He has had, I'll let him give you the number, a mind-blowing number of coaching sessions with agents. And he wanted to be a part of the team. He wanted to be a part of a group of individuals that were going somewhere he wanted to go. He wanted to contribute. And the guy works his ass off. He's here first thing every morning, working his ass off to contribute. And he's somebody that has stepped into our organization that he needed to start providing value. He did a SWOT analysis for me in the brokerage. I interviewed some of you in the room, interviewed staff, put a SWOT analysis together, and then it was just like spot on. Absolutely spot on things that were strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, that's where we are today. We've already started taking action on some of it. So without further ado, Dave, if you can introduce yourself, that'd be great.
Yeah, thank you. So, I know we're short on time. So again, my name is Derek Schlekeway. I'm Jack. We decided to be part of this team. You know, I've been a real estate agent for 19 years. It will be 20 years now. I worked for some corporate brokerages, franchises, independents, on leadership teams. So I've seen a lot behind the curtain. The last 16 years, I've conducted over 30,000 coaching sessions with some of the top agents and teams across the country. So all that means is I've seen a lot. I don't know everything, but I think I've seen everything. So one of the benefits was, you know, for 4 or 5 years, I was coaching on mindset and skill set all across the country, through the United States and Canada. And I loved it because I just love to hear myself talk. So it was one of my favorite things to do. Then COVID happened. COVID happened, I've been Zoom coaching agents of all different brands and brokerages and all different sizes for the last 4 years. A lot of benefits, no traffic. I haven't had to wear pants for 4 years. That was really good. I was negotiating things that Nick and I had. He said, "If you come on, you're gonna start wearing pants again." I said, "When you want to negotiate," he said, "Well, let's farm a little bit." So. Right, so one of the cool thing was it's very unique. A lot of times you join, you get hired on to join someone, you have 3 or 4 interviews and, does this look good? You look good, and it shakes hand, you move on. Well, I've been full contract for the last 3 months and, just one analysis, strengths, weaknesses, opportunities and threats. He hired me, paid me to go out and check out the competition. You want me to go and see what other benefits everybody else has? All right, I'll do that too. So out of everything that I've seen, and I've looked behind the curtain of all the other competition in town, and I have been able to see behind the curtain of this brokerage. I've been able to work with this incredible staff. I've got to interview with a lot of you, and there's probably only 3 or 4 people in the bid that ever Madison better than I do right now. Right, Matt, Nick, and their spouses and their accountants. And I'll tell you, I've seen a lot, I know a lot, I know the strengths and weaknesses here, and that is one of the reasons why I'm here. I know what the competition has out there, I know what you guys have, what you guys offer, and that's another reason I'm so jacked excited to be part of this. Where you guys are, the projection of the growth that you have, I know that I'm in the right place, and I'm just proud to be part of this family, and I appreciate that.
Have you got any listing you want to talk about? The next, got hiring, others, listing, anything? Come on up. Say your first name so we know how to track you down. Check our LinkedIn at the end of this week. It was nice. What?
Hi, everybody, I'm Porter, and I have this bag of super unique. It's on the 3rd hole of Hillcrest. So you have greens behind you. This townhouse has been totally freaked out. Sea line appliance package. It has marble and back. Quartz countertops. Porcelain on the floors. It's spectacular. It has an outdoor barbecue. It's gorgeous, and it's going to be in the market. So, price is still against the dial in. It'll be under $1 million, and the size it was a 3-bedroom, 2 bath, but we're into 2-bedroom, 2 bath, and then downstairs bedroom has a full bar. It's so look forward to coming the second.
Thanks.
So probably market in a day or two. 2,500 square feet, a little bit above is out locale, so it's out full. They're really building up that community, pool, clubhouse, basketball courts, playground, dog area. It's pretty much got everything. Out of locale. So this home is a super upgraded, beach home, like it's much nicer than from a finished perspective. They are fantastic. So 4 bedrooms, 2 baths, 2-car garage. One of the basically converted to a shop. It backs up to nothing. So if you're interested, 600,000 is what we're asking. I've got a developer looking for 5+ acres, anywhere in the Treasure Valley. And then we're doing wants to do under 2 million, so raw development land. I also have someone looking for 3,000 square foot, $1.4 million at their home. So let me know if you have anything on that. Another person looking at single, around 3,000 square feet, single level where they left that green space. So not their lot, but back up to green space, not if you were beyond the water, modern. let me know on any of those.
Thank you.
And have a listen to them. Acres of land and it's out in, I think it's called Timber Ridge Subdivision, out in Caldwell. And, we're looking at the 200 for the land. And it has unobstructed views in the west. And in the south, gorgeous sunrise, sunset, you focus, absolutely beautiful, so.
Juliana did not make it today, so she asked me to, tell you about her property. Let's see, here's a little flyer on it, if you want some more information on it. It's Boise Bench House, corner lot, classic mid-century with, several modern updates with the original character, new roof, new flooring, new paint, covered patio, just under 2,000 square feet. Super close to downtown, redeveloped, what did you say, no homeowners association with a large basement, she says, possible short-term rental type property. So here's the information on that. Let's see, right. There, that's hers. Last but not least, we have a winner. So Jim, gave me this information, and what helpful was this? It's a guess. Yeah, it's Stephanie Martin. The house, the best prospect.
Oh, yes, yes. All right, Mike T.
Too late.
I was listening over in South Dakota, Springs, coming up probably mid-February. Pretty good, 1,500 square feet. We go walk to 1113, walk the park, mountains. I think I'm gonna be somewhere. I don't know yet. We're working on that, but we kind of, yeah, I'll tell you that. Right before getting away. Yeah, you got a gas station. That's something people speak. But, that was coming up, and then I also had a buyer who is looking for southeast of Boise. They're from the farm areas, so they're wilder, so they'd like to have some sort of acreage. They're good. So I'm just going out there and helping keep them off the fence. If anybody has some southeast Boise, it could be under an acre, so a little bit of land, so they can go like that. All right, so that, all right.
Got lunch?
Lunchtime.
Doing the post, we got lunch, thanks guys. Appreciate your time.
Yeah.